There you go. It's the title. You already know that now. Okay, the format. We've got Zoom people. We've got you. I want you to participate, but I want to get through this. So if you've really got a question, raise your hand, say it loud so I can hear it, and we'll repeat it for the Zoom people. The other thing, Paul, I believe, is recording this. I'm leaving this with you guys. This is yours. I'm yours. What a bargain, huh? Do with it whatever you want, except get enthusiastic. Look at all these old farts out here. I see one young person. I hope today, when you see that second to last slide, the last slide's all about me, so it's the best. But the second to the last one, do what Joe's doing. You got a neighbor kid to help pollinate and hibernate. Start doing that. If you really love azaleas, get up off your butt, get some kids, grandkids, follow neighbor kids like Joe does. Share this. I've been so incredibly blessed. I'm beyond humbled. And I have to share what has been given to me freely. I want to share it freely. That's why I'm here. That's why I drove a long way. Okay, so ask questions, speak loud, enjoy each other's comments, and let's get started. As I said, buckle up. Materials list. What do we got here? And I've got to have notes because I'm old. Humidity chamber of some kind. We got to have 100% relative humidity. Supersaturated is even better. We're going to cut plants off. They have no roots. And I don't care how much water you dump onto a plant, they do not get any water except from the roots. The only thing you do by watering the tops of the plants is create a more humid environment so they don't lose water as fast. The only way the water gets into the plant is through the root. They don't have any roots. I just whack them off. So we need a humidity chamber. We need perlite. It's not optional. We have to get oxygen to those stems. Without oxygen, you don't grow root. It's just that simple. Okay? It's not optional. But it's cheap and it's everywhere. You can go to Walmart and buy little bags, or you buy big bags like me that are yay tall, but they only weigh 10 pounds. So you put one on each shoulder and you impress all your neighbors. That's what I'm talking about, right? What's up?
Can you substitute sand?
No. Sand's too heavy and I hurt my back. I'm serious. You're old. You don't want to be carrying around heavy buckets of sand. What's the matter with you? Yes, sand does compact. And when you're talking about sand, there's all different grades and sizes of sand. And too many people start with fine sand. No oxygen. I'm here to teach you how to be successful. Can it work and other things do well in it? Sure. I'm not knocking that. But let's stick with the program. I'm old and I got a bad back now. So perlite's light, and it does a better job of variation and creating a very humid environment that also allows room for the roots to grow. Roots are delicate. They don't like pushing rocks. My back doesn't either. I think it's a better option. Yes, ma'am. No.
What was the question?
Can you use seed starter? Thank you. Most seed starter has vermiculite in it. They're going to get soggy, wet, and rot. Short and sweet. And I'm going very fast. Can you tweak and make things work? Yes. Let's don't tweak. Let's get with the program. Let's get some cuttings. Let's make it work. I don't have time to waste. I'm old. There's only so much time left on the clock here for me. Yes, ma'am. We're going to get to that in just a minute. Excellent question. Excellent question. I'll talk about that. A little bit more about that. Okay, so milled peat moss. And here's the deal on the brands. Cheaper the brands, they got more crap in there. You're picking out little sticks. It's just that simple. It still works. Okay? And remember, I'm a cheap date, not a cheapskate. Okay, what else? Here you go. Little bags, Miracle Grow, they're everywhere. For less than $10, you can buy a bag of perlite. For less than $10, you can buy a bag of peat. You got enough material there. You can start at least, I don't know, how many hundred, at least 200. Break that down. How many pennies are you investing? What are you, cheapskates? Okay. Now here's where it comes in. I've read and been taught 50-50. And if I got 30%, man, I was a happy camper. Whoopee! I kept it too wet. I just kept it too wet. And so, number one, now I've got pathogenic, disease-causing fungi and bacteria. And I wasn't getting good aeration. So I was growing all kinds of things. Some of it was white, pink, and blue fuzzies, but it wasn't azaleas. So playing around with different ratios, I now use a 4 parts perlite, 1 part peat. And people have a hard time wetting peat. Friend was saying, well, I have to put it in a bucket and I wait a week. I'm 70 years old. I ain't got a week to wait. All you have to do is run hot water. No soap, no detergents, no any extra chemicals. But hot out of the tap. I don't have to boil it. And guess what? I pour it in my peat. I stir it around and give me 3 minutes. My peat's wet, damp, ready to rock and roll, baby. I'm 70. That's keep the truck moving. Okay, peat moss, it maintains the acidic pH, which keeps the fungus away. It also takes out a lot of the pathogenic, disease-causing bacteria. And let's face it, azaleas love it. A lot of other plants don't. Moss does too. That's not a bad thing. Anyway, let's move along. Well, let's go back here. Here's what it looks like. And I got too many things in my pockets, but I bought this toy, so I'm going to play with it. And if I have to talk loud, I've lost it already. I have a laser pointer, but notice, Paul assured me this word. Notice it's dry. That's what you want. But when I wet it down, I'm ready for cuttings. You see the pearly white snow in July. That's a big deal. I know it seems like a little thing. That's a big deal when you're handling this stuff. When it's wet enough for the cuttings, it sticks to everything and you've got a mess everywhere. When you keep it dry enough like this that it doesn't, you can handle your stuff just fine. Here's what it looks like. I wet a pot ready for cutting, so I dumped it out so you can see. I want to see nice, whoops, wrong button. I want to see nice white perlite. Okay, materials list 2. So far I've got what? Yeah, it's a test. I've got peat and perlite. I can handle that. And something to mix it up in. You got a bucket, leftover ice cream containers. It's not technical, okay? Still little plastic buckets from your kids. We're going to get them involved anyway. Okay, pots or containers, rooting hormone, whatever's cheapest. IBA, indole-3 butyric acid. I want to succeed. I'm going to use every trick, every cheat I can. So I'm going to use rooting hormone. There's all kinds of stuff available in all different concentrations. Most evergreen azalea cuttings will root very well without any help. We're blessed that way. I want to guarantee it. I don't want to be satisfied with 50, 60, 70%. I like to have 90 to 95% success rate every time, every time, every time. I need help. Haven't you seen me? I need help. I'm going to take advantage of it. And it's cheap. For less than $10, I can go to Lowe's, I can buy a bottle of 0.1%, and it will take care of that little 2-ounce bottle. Easily treat 200 cuttings. That's cheap insurance to bump my ratios up to, at least 80 to 90% success rate. What are you, cheapskates? Go figure. I'm only going to be in St. Louis. This man called me one time. My mother died. I grew up with these plants, and I'll get to you. I will not ignore you. I promise you. I need help. We use rooting hormone. Okay? It's precious, Lynn. Don't be a cheapskate on me. Yes?
Solid or liquid?
Okay, that's a good question. I use the powder, but again, cheap. If you want to, there's cloning gels, and they're very expensive. You know what isn't? Aloe vera plants. They also have excess IAA, indole-3 acetic acid, which is the natural rooting hormone. But squeeze a bunch on the table there, put some of your powder, mix it up. Now you have a super rooting gel, cheap. Good to go? All right. Any other questions? Spray bottle, not an optional. They have no roots. They're going to be drying out. I want them suckers wet and messy all the time. The whole entire process, when I'm going to take them out of the baggie and handle them, I want them wet. They have no roots. Okay? If they look like a very well done spaghetti noodle, they're not going to root. They're already dead. The cells have already disrupted. They've lost all the water. The water vacuoles have already ruptured. They're dead. There's no coming back. Okay? All right. Am I going too fast? I've got to time myself, because Rick's watching. Okay, tools needed. Mr. Bonsai Man. Woohoo! He has nippers. But see, Chris, go out to the back of the car and get my little square tub, please. I'm going to show you what I use. I am very efficient. I shop at the Dollar Tree store. Everything's $1.25 that I need. The best nippers I've ever found, hands down, the best, are $1.25. They used to buy them for $1, but $1.25, the best. I'm going to show you some. I want you to see, touch, and feel. Okay, no extra charge for that. But you want them sharp. You want clean cuts, ragged, jagged cuts. I've got a lot of cell disruption. It is guaranteed I'm going to have rot. If I make a clean cut, there's going to be very few cells that are going to rot. I'm going to have open vascular cambium so that I can get my rooting hormone or just plain water up there to feed those plants. Jagged cuts and tears, the plant is going to try to heal that. It's going to form a scab, callus cells, cork cells to seal that off. Now my rooting hormone can't get in there, neither can the water. So you want sharp. A sharp knife, well, I'll get to that. Ziploc bag with a sealable lid. When we take the cuttings, we bag them right then. You don't leave them laying around. And what's a car in the sun? It gets hot. Don't put them in a bag and then leave the Ziploc bags in the sun. If it's hot and sunny, carry an ice chest. It doesn't have to be icy cold, but just keep them out of the sun. Yes, sir.
You need to disinfect that.
Okay, in roses, absolutely, I do. Especially because we have a really nasty virus going around in the Ozarks. I've never seen a whole lot of Azalea disease. So I'm going to tell you flat out, for me, I don't disinfect. I don't carry around a bucket of alcohol or bleach or anything else, because that also does a lot of real tissue damage at the cellular level. And I'm going to start getting that callus. Baby, I want the juices flowing. I want water going up, and I want that water to carry rooting hormone going up. So I want the least amount of cell disruption, whether it's chemical or physical jagged tears and scraping. Okay? Little details make the biggest difference. Yes, sir.
I would advise anybody, if they're using a cutter, use a bypass cutter rather than an anvil cutter.
Oh, amen.
The anvil cutter crushes the bottom.
Absolutely. That's why it's important that we all talk. Zoom people, I hope you heard that. Do not use anvil, where the blade comes down, chop, chop on a cutting board. That's the most terrible pruner you can have for any cutting purpose. Use the bypass like scissors that chop and cut clean. Thank you for that contribution. That's why you guys are important to me. That's why I came. I want to have interaction. You are important to this presentation. People just learned a whole lot of information. You're a treasured, precious thing, your knowledge. Don't let it go to waste. Let's get some kids in here. Why don't I have a bunch of kids making a lot of noise and blowing bubble gum in the back? You got grandkids? Borrow some neighbors' kids. Joe, where are they? You should have brought some.
They're all hibernation.
All right, there's the man. They're all out hybridizing because Joe taught his neighborhood. Thank you, Joe. What an example. There you go. All right. Now listen, I'm old. I need a table and a chair. Some people could work on gardens, but listen, my table is reject those bathtub cross things for handicapped people to get into the bathtub. They're throwing them out. Well, a little bleach and alcohol worked good there, but they've got adjustable legs and I can raise them up and play with them. They're waterproof. I have them out in the yard and they're great. I need a chair, especially since I hurt my back. And I'm lazy. I'm old. I'm 70. What do you think? So I sit down. Some people are really comfortable working at a stand-up bench. For me, right now, that's a physical limitation. I set up a chair wherever I'm going to do this, out in the yard, in my basement rooms, wherever. Okay, so I'm talking about me. Collect the cuttings. Best done in the morning when you have the time. Do it. I'm going to be making some cuttings tomorrow afternoon, I promise. If Leslie will allow me. But the morning's best. Why? Because I want the most water in that cutting. So in the morning, they've had all night to bring up water with the least amount of evaporation through the stomata of the leaves. So we have what's called turgor pressure. The water vacuoles in each individual cell is packed full. So I want them dudes to stand up and salute. Okay, that's what's best. When I whack and stack, now I'm going to throw them right in the baggie and on the Ziploc so that I don't lose them. And I will tell you, for the cutting, I'm going to step over here, Zoom people. You think I'm kidding? Look how stained and brown that metal is. Here you are. I just bought these just because I love you so much. I went by the Dollar Tree, $1.25. It's a bargain. Look how sharp they are. Can you see how sharp they are? Very pointed. And these suckers are sharp. I almost cut my finger off here, whacking on a Jack Maple a couple years ago. They are sharp. But listen, this doesn't have to break the budget. Okay? You don't have to have highly technical stuff. And you can do this. When I get through with you, you guys are going to be dangerous. Loaded for bear. Okay. What was I saying? I got interrupted. Was that somebody talking out there? Dave? You want to write sentences for me,
I
Dave?
can't hear you, sir.
That's what I thought. Okay. You don't want it to dry out or wilt. This is the most important step right here. You can lose them. 100% failure right here. And you put them in that Ziploc bag and you lay that in the sun. Give them 20 minutes. We just got steamed broccoli. Steamed azaleas. They're dead on a hammer. Just that simple. So make sure to label it. I've got a shake and bake memory right now. So label it. Permanent marker works on the bags, the Ziplocs. I got a good deal on flagging tape at a place called Cheapo Depot. I said, Cheapo Depot? Take the car around. Flagging tape, I paid $3 or $4 for them little rolls. They had a whole box, 10 rolls in a box for $8. Boxes. I'm good for life. Okay, so get the name. Honestly, guys, we've got enough pretty flowers out there. Let's have some names. What you got? I don't know. Is that really the answer you want to hear when you're asking? Or do you want to give that answer? So label it. It doesn't take but a second. Okay, select firm stems with at least 4 sets of leaves. I need some material to work with. I can't add to the board if I'm a carpenter. I can't add to a cutting. But I'm going to show you how I can do cuttings that are about that long. I'm the magic man. Sort of, kind of maybe. Cut the stems. Don't break them off. It causes less dehydration. I've already talked about that in cell disruption. Have a label. Get the things labeled. We took a marshy point, and she said, the labels deteriorate, we're going to have to go. I've got a map. So it's labeled Marshy Point, Unc 1, Unknown 1. I still have now, I know it's Marshy Point. We can go to the bed, identify it. This is Mother's Azalea on the south end of the front porch. A man just came to me and said, this is very precious to me. And I've tried 3 years and now we're selling the house. Can you please help me? I helped him. And one bag says north and one bag says south. That means all the world to him. They're precious to him. Okay? Put cuttings in the bag, label it. You can stick the cuttings immediately, but you don't have to. If you put the bag in the fridge, guess what? I can pull them out 2 weeks later and they're good to go. I've pulled them out 3 weeks later, they're good to go. If I'm going to store them, I want them dry. I want them dry. If you're going to do anything, take a piece of paper towel, not a napkin, paper towel. Put 1 or 2 drops of water and put it in the bag. Throw it in the fridge. Hey, I don't have time right now. I'm going to set aside Saturday. I'm going to stick cuttings and I'm good to go. A week is standard. No big deal. And I'm talking full 7 days. 24-hour days, no big deal. 2 weeks is still good. 3 weeks, okay, now come on, you better get up off your duff and let's get them stuck in the fridge. But I'm going to travel. Guess what? They're going to be fine for 4 or 5 days as long as they're not left out in the full sun. I'm going to throw them in an ice chest with no ice even, and they're still going to be fine. As long as I can keep it in room temperature or something I can live with. My wife likes it hot, 83. That sucks. I'm bigger than her. 73 is better for me. But you know, room temperature, they can travel 4 or 5 days, no problem. Longer than that, okay, get them in the fridge. But don't feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna go do this. You've got some leeway. As soon as you cut them, you get them in that Ziploc, seal that up. Okay? Enough said. I'm trying to get through this information. That's being recorded. You have this. Don't feel like you've got to jot this down. We're going to get to some pretty pictures, or maybe some pretty pictures here in just a minute. Okay? Bear with me. I know some of you are older than me and you're saying, come on, hurry up. I'm running out of time. It'll be okay. All right, extra notes. The size and length of the cutting depends on the plant. For example, a dwarf is going to give me dwarf cuttings. You know, creepers, sometimes, well, they may creep, but they don't put on long shoots. We're going to deal with that. Early in the season, listen, it's not on the regular presentation, but I'm going to give you some hints and secrets. You can take cuttings, even evergreen cuttings, year round. And I'm going to teach and share with you how. It's no big deal. You might not have a 80 or 90% success rate, but you can definitely have 50 to 75% success rate. Who doesn't love that? Right? Okay. You can treat the woody cuttings just like green cuttings with one exception. You have to use a sharp knife to gently take a piece of that outer bark. I want to expose that vascular cambium. I've got to get water and rooting hormone into that plant. And if you're going to do rooting or woody cuttings, you do need rooting hormone. Some will root, but it's a 50-50. I don't like 50-50. I'm old. I want to up my odds. Rooting hormone, I've already established this, cheap. Get some. Now, here's the other trick. If you cut the tip off, then the plant wants to grow taller, longer, bigger, better. You know, give me some roids, I'm Arnie, all that stuff. Cut it off, and it'll put more growth, more IAA, natural rooting hormones in the plant, endo-3 acetic acid into the roots rather than the growing tips. For deciduous, if you don't take off the bloom buds, hey, it's a miracle of God if you get better than 50% rooting success. On deciduous, knock those bloom buds off. Evergreens, I still knock most of the bloom buds off. I want to get every advantage I can. I don't want to be wasting time putting energy into a bloom. Give me some roots, then I can have 20 blooms. Okay? Work smarter, not harder. I want that plant to work smarter for me. I'm the boss, not the plant. I say you grow roots, not waste energy on a bloom that, guess what, you're never going to go ahead and open to maturity because you ain't got no roots bringing up there to pump up those petals to open them up. Common sense goes a long way, you know, especially when you have enthusiasm like I have. If you don't have common sense, you really get in trouble. Okay, here we go. What else have I got to do? Generally, you have better. All right. Okay, you've got that. Okay. I hope I'm being a little bit funny and entertaining, not irritating. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's see some pretty pictures. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get some cutting material. So here we have some nice shiny leaves. We've got the new growth. You all know what we're talking about right now. Hey, they're pumping out the new shoots. Okay, let's take a look. Here's another one. Doesn't look familiar? Then get out in the yard and look at your azaleas. You ought to be seeing stuff like this. If you don't, we'll talk about how you can help that here in just a minute. And so where are you going to look for them? Where's that corner? There you go. So you've got the old flower right there, and that's actually trying to form a little seed pod. And normally azaleas have these rosettes of leaves, whorls they're called. is the botanical term. And so you're going to get multiple branches coming off. Well, here's your cuttings. Whack, whack, whack. This season's growth. There's my cuttings. Okay. And so I whacked. These nippers that I just showed you are 7.5 inches long. And I said earlier, 6 to 8 inches is ideal. So here I've got what? I've got about 8 inches and I've got 6 inches. And I cut them. You can see my nice little angled cuts. I didn't break off. I didn't jag at anything, because when you break them off, you're still going to peel bark on the stem that you've got left. Now you got a rotten stem at the end of your azalea. Even though it's small and you may not notice it much, you've just said, hey, come on, baby, where's all the diseases you got? Because there are lots of beetles out there that smell and sense fresh sap. And here they come. Here they come. Hey, someone opened the maple syrup bottle. Let's go suck it up. And any other cooties and diseases and stuff except enthusiasm. And only they bring enthusiasm because they know I'm going to bring more. So I don't want to do that. Clean cuts. Okay. And what about this creeper? You're going to follow the same process. Color material may be smaller or shorter, but the steps are the same. With dwarfs and creepers, it's easier to lift the branch and see from below than your standard azaleas. Okay? You're not going to be looking down and seeing a whole lot of growth, especially on a creeper on the ground. So what do? Here is Nakahara witch's broom, called Glenda the Good Witch. I bought that at the convention last year from Jenkins. Was it last year or year before at Jenkins? Either way, I bought it. Okay, we had a rough spring. This whole country's had a wacky spring. And so a lot of azaleas in our part of the country really got hammered. So it doesn't look the greatest. So I thought, you know what? I better get to propagating that bad boy. So here I go. And I'm saying, man, we just looked at those pretty pictures of 6 or 8. What? Where is it? It ain't there. But guess what? I turn it over and look, I've got little bitty short stems. Hey, I'm easy. I can work with that, right? With my fine tooth point nippers, no problem. No problems. I whack and stack and wham, look at there. I got 5 little cuttings. Now notice how big my hand is. Those are short little stems, but they're stems. Everything is there. What more do I need? Perlite, peat, water, and rooting hormone. I'm good to go, right? Any questions? Yes, sir. Have you seen my fingers? No, that's an outstanding question. No. Ideally, maybe. I can't, and even with my nippers, and I'm not going to. But, so what's my ace up my sleeve since I'm not going to do that? Rooting hormone. I'm at a disadvantage because it's wanting to put the natural forming IAA into that tip. So I says, hey, I got to make up for that deficit. Well, it's a little powder in a bottle, or it's a little goo that I mixed up with my aloe vera. We have this technology out there, cheapo. Let's utilize it. Let's work smarter, not harder. That's not a disadvantage now. In the past, maybe it was. It's not now. Right? Excellent question. Thank you for asking that. For you Zoom people, these short stems, do I need to cut the tip out if I didn't repeat that? I apologize. So I'll recap. No, you don't. But that little short stem cutting is still going to want to put all of the natural rooting hormone to the tip. We have an advantage called a little powder called Hormex or Clonex or whatever. We can overcome that and still supercharge that stem into growing the roots. I hope that. Keep them coming. Excellent question. Thank you. And now the same thing. I'm going to cut more than one. Label them. I cannot overstress that enough. Did you get that oxymoron thing? Lynn, good for Lynn. I can't stress that enough. I really seriously mean that. We are losing too many azaleas because I don't know what it is. So the value's gone. You think it doesn't matter? Ask any museum. They lose the paperwork in Providence. It's valueless. I dealt with that as a professional taxonomist for years as a career. Do not come into my area and touch anything. Grounds for getting fired. Firing me up. Because now it's just another pine cone. I'm gonna come out of my backyard. The Providence. We're losing azaleas just from losing labels. So I can give another presentation on that later. So here we go. How about a super dwarf? Here's a Rukizan, which is broom. Now, man, you talk about I love that plant. I love everything about it. But boy, what stems? Look at that little short sucker. Are you kidding me? Okay, here's our challenge. Can I whack those and stick those? Yes, but sometimes you take something that's even shorter like that, I can't really whack a stem. I'm cutting wood. And so now I've got this ugly stub at the end of my plant. Well, I don't look good. And these leaves are going to fall off because I actually didn't cut the whole base of the stem in half. And what have we got left? I got this little green thing about that long and looks like, I don't know, a booger. What do? Let's go for some wood. We're not talking deciduous. I don't care. I can root woody evergreen cuttings too. And so can you. I'm going to teach you how. It'll be dangerous when you get out of here. All right, so here we go. First of all, let's go for down below. Go to the bottom of the plant. Here's a unique fact that I've never read anyplace else, but I've talked to too many really top-notch experts. Down lower on the plant, and this is mostly with deciduous people, there is still a higher concentration of IAA down there than there is at the tips. All that area in between is kind of, no man's land. So if you cut them lower, they tend to root more readily and with a higher success rate than if you take woody cuttings from higher up on the plant. Do I have a scientific study showing that? No, I don't. But I've got other experts that have stuck literally probably tens of thousands over careers of 30, 40 years. And I'm smart enough to know when there's someone that's smarter than me, more experienced with me, and they've got the proof, I'm going to shut up and listen. And I'm going to follow. And guess what? It works that good for me too. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is a proven difference. So I'm looking at the bottom of that plant. Now that plant's only this tall. And you're going to get the scale here in a minute. So I see all kinds of little roots or stems and woody stuff down there. So guess what? Check it out. Down here close to the ground, we're talking, well, you'll see here in the next slide. Bam, look at my hand. I've got little bitty stuff, but look at how much woody stem I've got. Even got a bud coming on. This is 2-year growth here. There's a 3rd-year growth. That's wood. That's evergreen. You can't be doing that. Someone forgot to tell me I could. And someone forgot to tell a whole lot of other people that's been doing it on deciduous. Well, if it works on deciduous, why not evergreens? I do it on evergreens. Well, guess what? I can find that same kind of wood in December, Lynn. Or February. Or right in the bloom season. And I'm not cutting all the pretty blooms off the top and disfiguring and disrespecting a plant, but I can see what it is. I want that one because I can see it. Go to the bottom. Start whacking. And I can propagate evergreen azaleas from woody stems in full bloom. And I know what I'm getting. Yes, sir.
Do you use the same offset or a stronger?
Woo, here's one of the things. Excellent question. Now, we're going to get into that in just a slide or two down the road. That is an outstanding question. Are there different concentrations that you can purchase? Yes. And I'll talk about that and give you some real data. If you want to take your pictures, get ready with your phone, you can take a picture. But thank you. Paul's got this, and I'm leaving this with you. But outstanding question. Don't let me not address that, okay? Seriously, that's a critical question. Okay, so here we go. And so we've got our cuttings, let's stick them. Cuttings, cups of water to hold them, rooting media, containers, pots, cups, something to hold the media, humidity chamber. You've got all this, you can review it. And I'm watching my time. Woo! There's some real scientific stuff. Oh yeah. Where's Chick-fil-A? Well, I forgot to grab the Chick-fil-A cups. Did I say cheap date? Not cheapskate. You kidding me? That's Starbucks. Ain't nothing cheap about that. I don't have to have some special nursery pots. I don't have to get all excited and overwhelmed. You buy your kids a drink. If it's a clear cup, hang on to that sucker. We don't want to throw it in the trash. We want to recycle anyway. Only we're going to recycle and get some azaleas out of it. Does it get any better? Come on, tell the truth. You know you love this stuff. Tell your grandkids and your neighbor kids how much you love it and why it's so fascinating and interesting. Get them excited. Are you not catching the disease yet? Am I not? Do I need to go rub up on? I mean, I'm serious. I'm serious I'm serious as I get. Have some fun with this, but get excited about it. They will pick up on that. Okay, so here we go. And now I got to do a bunch of them. Let's get serious. I'm not kidding you. I got a bunch. I've got tubs. You know, I know Carol. We walked by and she's got tubs. If you got to crank out a bunch, okay, let's get serious. But what if you just wanted to take your grandkids? Look, let's go do something. I got to watch the kids for the day. Let's go take some azalea cutting. And go back to, well, hey, let's go uptown. Let's get us a sweet drink and, get them all sugared up because they're more excited and ready to go when they're sugared up. Whee! And let's take your cup and let's do some magic. What do you mean magic? Let's do some magic. And this is magic. Okay, so we're ready to rock and roll. And they're also very durable. It's been sitting on a side. No, a little over 1,000 miles. We'll get to that in a minute. Oops. Okay, so what's on my table? There you go. I told you, I dug it out of the trash and they were going to throw it away. I'm a dumpster diver. That's right. Proud of it. Going down the road, up there on top of this dumpster. I said, hey, they got my name on it. Well, fit in the back. I've got 2 of them now. The other one's gray. All right, so what have I got here? I don't know. Let's think about it. Well, I've got bags of cuttings, and I've got some rooting hormone. I've got my nippers, and these are mini blinds. I go through a lot of labels.
Rooting hormone. Does it have a shelf life?
Outstanding question. We're going to talk about that again. 2 questions. I've got a slide dedicated to IDVA. Please don't forget both of those, because I'm going to address those. I'd forgot that. Thank you, Rick. Does rooting hormone have a shelf life? Yes, we'll address it here in a minute. Okay, so I cut up mini blinds. Think about mini blinds. They're in the west and south windows, getting intense heat, UV. What's on the side of houses? It's supposed to guarantee it ain't going to warp, crack, or look ugly for 30 years, except for the moss grows on it. That's not a bad thing if you're an azalea grower, right? They're durable. I've yet to see any kind of plastic label that doesn't get brittle and break or deteriorate in just 2 or 3 or 4 years. And it gets expensive. Remember, I'm trying to make this cheap. I was hard up. Oh my gosh, I forgot my materials. I'm in Florida. I went to Walmart. I spent $8 and buy a small little mini blind. I got about 400 labels out of that bad boy. I cut them all different sizes for what I'm doing. For this, it's going to be small. And, I put on my rock and roll music on my my computer and I get to snipping in because and I measure them out for whatever pots and whatever purpose I'm doing. I'm serious. I'm serious. If you do a lot like Joe does, like Carol does, like I do, but not quite on their scale, labels get expensive. Labels get expensive. So remember, cheap. What else have I got up here? I've got cottage cheese. I have some store-bought guac and low fat sour cream. Okay, I'm a good boy. Or my wife is. I'd be lost without my wife. And I've got my spray bottle, but I am clean and fastidious. So I've got paper towels, you know? So here we go. Details, what's on the table. I need containers for the water. I need a spray bottle. Remember, I have got to keep those cuttings wet. They do not have roots. I need to keep them wet. My nippers, my sharp pocket knife, labels and pencils, rooting hormone, more about this later, it's coming quick, and the cuttings in containers. Okay, so I've got my cuttings, I've got my nippers, got my knife, got my hormones. Dave could have fun with that comment, I'll bet. Spray bottle, my pencil, high tech. I salvage them from kids. They throw stuff away all the time. And I'm good to go. More pencils. I don't need some fancy thing to stick a hole in that perlite, but try it with your finger. It hurts. Of course, I'm old and soft. So I've got pencils. And there you go. So let's move along, little doggies. So I've got my cuttings and I've got them in water. And these are just floating, some of them under the water, that's fine. Now I've got my labels. Okay, let's make it. Let's do it. Get your tub, get your pots all filled, have everything ready. When I take those suckers out of the bag, I need to rock and roll. I don't open 12 bags. If I have 3 groups of cuttings, that's max. And there's a few. If I've got a bag of cuttings, I've got 10 or 12, I don't open 3 bags. I open 1. And I spray them down constantly. So anyway, let's move along and you'll see. So I've got my pots. I'm getting them all filled up. I've got various size pots. You know, my media is damp. I've got some in the car. You can feel it. And you'll understand what I'm talking about. When you actually feel it and crumble it and then look at your hand, you're going to understand why it's important. Let's don't get it too wet too soon. There's a time and place for everything. And I need to be efficient and fast. I'm also going to have to write. I want to keep clean. You got a question? Yes, sir. Nah. You can, if you want, at the end of the season, if you want to dip them all in bleach, 10% bleach or something like that, absolutely. It's good practice. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good practice. But I will tell you this, bleach is going to make everything brittle. And as I said, the real problem we have with azaleas is keeping them too wet. If I can keep things dry, I don't have problems with azaleas. If I'm dealing with my roses and doing rose cuttings, now that's a different ballgame. Okay, let's get real. But with azaleas, they're such wonderful plants. And one of the things is they just aren't susceptible to a whole lot of cooties. Yes, sir.
Reuse the pots.
Amen. I don't throw nothing away till it's done broke. Yes, I've got pots that I reuse multiple times, and most people I think do. You know, with the price of petroleum, and our pots are made out of crude oil, it gets expensive. So let's recycle them with azaleas in them. Okay. And again, there it is, nice and dry. And so I put it in my little cup here. And what am I going to do? I'm going to spray it down. There's my humidity chamber. There's my humidity chamber. Right here it is. You think I'm kidding? There that sucker is, right here. In a minute, I'm going to pass it around. You can see I'm not blowing smoke. Okay? And then that's what I'm looking for. And you can see through the side, it's starting to get a little bit darker. But I want to see that snow white perlite. So here's my cuttings. Let's get back to the cuttings. Here we are. And I can make 2 out of them. I just need 3 or 4 sets of leaves total. So this literally was 8 inches. This was 6 inches. I've got 2 cuttings, but I have no roots. I can't support all these leaves. Just that simple. And people are going to tell you, we'll take and pull the leaves off. And when you do, you're going to look at that stem and say, what happened to it? You're going to rip strips of tissue off that stem. That sucker's going to wilt and dehydrate and die PDQ. Nip them. That's why we got sharp cutters. And so here's what I did. I left them right there and I did my cuts. Okay. You don't see any tore, jagged barks on those pictures. Okay. I go to the top and what I do, I take that little top out. And that's where these little fine point nippers, bonsai scissors. I've got sets of those. My wife stole them all. She leaves me the cheapos and she makes my good bonsai ones. I want to grow roots. There's time to grow tips. Okay. I want roots. You can see I've got a nice clean cut. That'll callus over. But here's the other thing by doing that. In the axis of every single leaf, you have a bud for next year's growth. I have not destroyed that bud. So when I tear it, most of the time you booger up that bud too. You're going to see how that comes into play here later. Okay, so here we go. And I've got my cup, I've got my little pencils, and I'm poking holes. Here's one hole already poked. See how pristine snow white, snow in July. And I'm grinding that down. And I'm going to poke all the way to the bottom. And you can see for those cuttings, not real deep. I don't need a, deep pot. Okay. And so there you have 2 holes. I'm ready to rock and roll. I've got nice wet. I've got a little moisture on the sides of the cup. We're good to go. I dip it in rooting hormone number 1. And I drop a cutting in 1 hole. Okay, let's try number 3. Do I need number 3 on all? I don't know. Let's play around. Let's see. So here's our questions. Here's our questions. And let's read this, honest to God. It may be better if I just go a little bit slower. Endo-3 butyric acid, IBA, rooting hormone. No matter what the brand names, trade names, that's what we're talking about. That's the chemical that you're dealing with. It mimics the natural auxin, that's another common name we call it, in plants, triggering to differentiate. Basically, it turns cells into stem cells. Now they will go and do whatever we want them to. With babies and birth, now they harvest the stem cells with a parent's permission from the umbilical cord, and they do all kinds of things because they will turn into whatever we want to turn into. They can manipulate it. We are doing the same thing. We are manipulating undifferentiated cells and making them grow roots. That's what we're actually doing. When you read that, triggering the differentiation of mature cells into active root meristematic new growth. Meristem means I've got an active growing cell dividing portion. That's what meristem. You've got tip, you've got root meristem. That means here's where the cells are actively dividing. Okay. It increases cell division in the root tip, increasing the number of new root hairs. I don't care how many roots you see. The only roots that actually take up water, that actually take up nutrients, are the little tiny hair roots that are 1 to 2 cells in diameter. That's it. All of those others are the vessels, the cambium, that's bringing the water and nutrients up to the top of the plant and bringing the nutrients back down to the root structure so that it can grow new root hairs. Okay? And so that's what it's doing. It's stimulating, mimicking the effects of the natural endo-3 acetic acid, IAA, natural plant auxins. And they have done buku scientific studies, and you treat them with hormones, you're going to get what? A lot more root length. The more roots, the more water, the more nutrients, the more growth, the more success I'm gonna have. And the numbers, the more root hairs I get, hey, I'm gonna get more water up there. Just common sense, right? I got 10 little minions working for me instead of one. Okay. Now, does it expire? If you leave it out in the hot sun, just like in the car, guess what? You got about a year. If you don't, keep it in room temperatures. You've got 2 years, yeah, you can probably milk it for another year. When I'm paying $32 or $40 for a little 2-ounce bottle of 1.6%, I keep that bad boy in the freezer. I break it out and I stick those cuttings and it goes right back in the freezer when I'm done. And okay, I'm good for like 5 or 6 years. Well, I'm paying that kind of money for just a little 2-ounce bottle. It's still dirt cheap because I can still get 200 or 300 cuttings out of one little bottle. Do the division. I'm still getting what? 2 or 3 cents to maybe guarantee that something like rhododendron impeditum that is almost impossible to root, period. I can get maybe a 40 or 50, 60% success rate. Hello, sign me up. Okay, think smarter, not wiser. That didn't come out right. But it's okay. I'm enthusiastic. I make up for it with enthusiasm, right? Okay. Did I answer Rick in your question? Are you satisfied? Ask further, I'll do my best. Yes, ma'am, sir.
These like to talk extracts in the say not using IDA or also asking low fertilizer dosage.
Okay, do not use fertilizer. Okay. Are there other sources of IAA? Yes. Kelp? Yes. It's not very common. Most people don't use it, but it is used in industry. The most common, there are 2 sources you're going to find a lot of it. One is aloe vera plants, very high end, and the gel maintains moisture, and you do need to get that powder wet so that it can travel up into the stem. Okay. The other one is willow bark, and a lot of willow bark has acetic acid or salicylic acid, aspirin, and it's quickly and easily converted into endo-3 acetic acid. Okay, so those are natural sources. Aloe vera is easy, it's readable, it's a cheap plant, and it really works good to mix with the powder. Now I've got a gel, then I can let that cutting set there for a few minutes before I ever stick it, and already at the cellular level, that rooting hormone is traveling up in the plant. So there's some real advantages to using the Clone-X gels and things like that. Now it gets a little bit messy. But, when you're enthusiastic like me, who cares about mess? That's why I got paper towels on the table. But yes, there's other sources. Any other questions? Okay, let's rock and roll. And so here they are. I stuck them in the 2 holes, and here comes an important next step. I need to pack that down because it's loose. And if you don't pack it initially, you try to take your pencil and make your holes, it just crumbles, it doesn't work. So I have to pack it down. I wet it good, I pack it down, then my pencil, and first time you do this, you're gonna say, oh man, that ain't working. Pack it down a little bit in your pencil, twist it, then lift it up, and you've got your nice hole. Okay, now after I stick them in there, I've got that big void, the width. Did any of those stems look as big around as a pencil? So I've got that gapping space around them. So I'm gonna very carefully take my finger in this cup, I've got a big fat finger, so I gently tap around, and I say gently, I don't want to crush the stem, but I want that packed down. I don't want big gapping voids. When you plant azaleas in the yard, one of the worst things you can do is have big gaps, air gaps in your soil. So what do? You get in the shovel if you're talking trees or something, or you get your garden hose, wet it down, and then you carefully take your foot, you pack that around because I don't want those roots drying out with air pockets underneath. Okay. These common planting practices. It's the same on this scale with the perlite. And then you're going to see, boy, this wet stuff sticks all over you. That's why you don't get it too wet till you're ready to do this. That's why in the tub, I keep it drier. And thank you, Chris, for bringing that in. I didn't bring the tub in, but if you go to the house, Dave's will see that too. Okay, and then here I go. I put a label in there, always label everything. There you go, 6/15. What is today's date? It's been almost a month, just 3 days short. And here you go. And if you will look in there, you're gonna see I've already got a brand new branch. And I brought this with me. 2,000 miles, this was back when I was myself. But I want everyone to pass this around and see, I'm not making this up. First of all, they still look great. And it works, okay? And it's cheapo, but it's growing. Check it out. Okay, you've got, and I want to point this out. This is important. This is really important. On the one, I've got one nice stem already up yay high, but I want you to look at the other one. And what we can even do, you'll be careful. Yeah, we'll do this. I want you to look at the other one. In those axes of these leaves right here, those buds that I said don't just tear the leaf off, will damage them. You're going to see 1, 2, 3 sprouting already, and it's not even been 30 days. I'm not making it up. I want you to take the time and look and then pass this around. I want you to see what I'm talking about. I'm not kidding you. It's important. These are little details that I screwed up so many ways from Sunday, guys, learning. I'm, 5 hours from anybody. And I had to learn. And the stuff I was reading and online stuff, I was failing. I got no place to go but up. Let's try anything. Man, I'd have been dipping them in chewing gum if I thought it worked. But I've learned. And then I had good people to give me a foundation. I am trying my best to share that with you. Share it with somebody. Don't keep this to yourself. You've got world famous people sitting right here. Don Hyatt. I almost worship the ground he walks on. Not quite. Don't get cocky. Carolyn, I watched for years. Looking back, I download every single newsletter from the ARS chapter all the way back to 2012. I was so honored to meet her the first time. She doesn't even know who I was. Get away from me, boy. But I was almost shaking. I don't want to get too cocky, but I was almost shaking to shake hands. And Carol, I have admired your photos so many times. She doesn't even remember that. Look at her. See that shit? I was nobody, but I'm somebody now. You know who I am? I'm just a normal guy that can grow azaleas. And I'm willing to tell you, look, you can be super whoever and grow azaleas too. Teach it to a kid. Share that with your family. Get them fired up. If we don't, I'm going to tell you, the ASA ain't going to be here in 20 or 30 years because you're all going to be dead. And it's all going to be on Lynn's shoulder. See what a burden you're carrying? Look out, honey. Are you a member yet? Why not? See, she said no. Why not? Do I need to come rub my hand on your head and give you the ASA blessing? Get enthusiastic. Come on. Here we go. All right. So there's the cup. I'm not making it up. Yes, sir.
What is your life source? Artificial or?
We're gonna get to that is the very next thing. This guy's really on top. He is enthusiastic. He caught the disease already. I can tell. Excellent question. That's the next obvious question. Okay. So we're gonna get it. So we've got it. Now look, that lid, if they've had too many straws in there, the lid is kind of floppy. We have this wonderful high-tech invention. Paul probably knew about it in the 1960s because he was working for the CIA. It's called Scotch tape. Put it over the straw hole. Bam! I've got a humidity chamber. Have I not met every criterion? Only I did it cheap. And I can have the kids helping me do it, and they're all fired up. We're going to make your drink cup into something magical. And you can take this and you can give a gift to your mom. We're not going to tell her what you're doing. And most evergreen cutting, the very next year, if you'll do things just right, rub a little magic on them, they'll bloom at least 1 or 2 blooms. And say, look what I did. Look what I did, Mom. You know what that's going to mean to a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old? What gift are you giving them in addition to the skill and knowledge to propagate azalea? How can you measure that in dollars and cents when you can do the whole 9 yards for less than a $20 bill? Is that not worth more than a scratch-off lottery ticket? Okay. Yeah, am I wild and crazy enough or what? Okay, here we go. Now for the regular pots, traditional, I got to get that wet. I take and I put them in a little container here and I fill it half full of water because I don't want to use my whole spray bottle and wear out my hand in that spray bottle pump trying to wet the whole pot down. Okay, but then I do spray off the top and mash it down, poke my holes, and here's my other cuttings, and bam, I'm ready to go. Stick them in there. So I've got on thicker, riper, or more woodier stems. And by this time of the season, some of those evergreen stems are getting yay long and getting hard and woody. Great. It's wonderful. I love it. That's where a sharp knife comes in. And I take and I make a little slice because remember, I've got to get that oxen, IBA, it's going to turn into oxen, artificial oxen, into that plant. So here's the vascular cambium, here's the tissue, the veins that go up into the plant, carrying that oxen up there, that IBA. Okay? And you notice water's dripping off. My fingers are wet. You got to keep it wet. You keep that spray bottle, and you notice it's fairly clean. I use paper towels. Every time I pack them down, my fingers are dirty and they're covered with perlite and all the kinds of cooties. I wipe them down. Okay? Paper towels are still cheap. Okay. And now I've got easy access to get that rooting hormone into that. And notice, guess what? There's where I cut a leaf off, there's a bud there. There's a bud there. And you're seeing those buds do grow. I don't want to damage those. I don't want to rip and tear. I want that bud. I like buds. And so here we are. Another pot ready to rock and roll. I take it and I put it into my chamber because I'm going to put several more pots in there. Okay. Up to this point, what part of this is so technical, so overwhelming that a fifth grader couldn't do this? Come on, own up, put your hands up. Go ahead, tell me, point them out. We'll all stare at you. Look, you can do this. All right. So as far as sticking cuttings, is there anything that I've not explained? Anything that you don't understand? You want a little bit more detail? Are we good? Okay, let's rock and roll. All right. There's our woody cuttings. Remember from Rookies On? What'd I tell you? I take and slice them. I don't use razor blades. Razor blades are too sharp and dangerous, and I cut myself. I can control this pocket knife because it's got a great big fat handle, and I've got someplace put this thing if I take it out of the farm. Here, okay. All right. Did everybody, honest to God, you take a look at the one with the new little buds sprouting. That's why I cut the leaves off and not there. Little details make a big difference. Okay. And I have screwed up little details more times than I can count. But I'm not stupid. I can learn. Maybe slower than some, but I can learn. You can too. And if I can, a fifth grader can, and even a kindergarten. And that's what I want you to walk out of here. Share this with somebody, please. I had a hand. Who was that? Yes, sir.
How often do you rehydrate it?
Been a month and I haven't done anything. And I don't have Scotch tape over the straw because they didn't really order it up much. So how often? Excellent question. I talk about that here in a minute, but I'll talk about it now. I want to see condensation on the side. I don't want to see water on the lid. That's too wet. I do want to see condensation on the side. Every morning when I go down there, I look at my tubs. They're not a perfect seal. So occasionally, once, maybe a month, when I've got a big tub, and I've got, 25 or 30 or maybe 35 or 6 pots of cuttings in there, I'll mist them down. I don't want to see water dripping off. It's too wet. I'm sunk. Back to the 50-50 that I've overcome, and now I've got them too wet. But I want to see condensation. If it's totally dry, no condensation, I want to get some water in there. Okay? But I'm not going to start pouring cups. I'm going to mist. And I'm going to check them the next morning till I reach that balance. And that's what it is. It's a balance. A balance. And what's an easy rule of thumb, if there's water on the lids, it's a little too wet. If there's no water on the sides, it's not wet enough. Now, who can, again, I gear this to teaching kids, 5th grade. You tell me you can't handle what a 5th grader can? Let's go. But 10 minutes or 20? I can't count. How many hands did he do? 20. Okay, 20. Okay, we're good.
Question, very good, better.
Yes, sir.
You see Mike Creel is in the market.
Yeah, Mike Krill and I go way back. Well, you know Mike Krill. It's all interesting. Mike Krill is a very dear, very precious friend of mine that insults me and ridicules me and does things that nobody has even dreamed of doing. He's a different stroke, but he's done things that nobody has done. There's no getting around it. He has been one of my teachers, but I've taught him a few things too. He doesn't like that. Yes, Mike Creel is an odd duck, but people tell me I am too. It's okay. Look at Joe. You know he's a train wreck. You know, if you're passionate about something, and I don't want you to get too passionate. I want you to be enthusiastic, but don't let your ego get to you. I'm just like anybody else. I want to be appreciated. I want someone to say, hey, good job. And in this world today, we don't get enough of that. The only time you hear from somebody is bad mouthing and criticizing. Be an encourager. Be someone that lifts them up. Even if you disagree, so you know, make some good points. I don't agree with everything, Mike, but okay, that's valid. But hey, here's something that I'm doing. And guess what, Mike? It does work. You know, especially with the kids. Don't say failures. Even if they're failures, they say, well, that didn't work. What are we going to do next? What do you want to try? Make them think. Everybody's not a winner. There's no such thing as everybody's first place. I don't want to paint some false fairy tale world, but I don't have to just rip you a new one either. Find that balance. Mike Creel dome pots. I've got a whole another presentation. What you see is what you get. Where I want to see them in bloom if I'm taking cuttings. I want to know what I'm going to get. And I went way past what Mike Creel's done. But Mike Creel gave me the foundation. And I've shared a lot of stuff with him. So it's all good and we work together. But yes, I know who Mike Creel is, and he talk about a pioneer. He's really done some work. I need to go. Are we good with that? Let's get on this. Okay, so let's go. Here they are, little tinies from that little rookies on. And guess what? You should see them now. They too have already started growing, but I've already got 121 slides. I couldn't just put everything in there. Okay, so here we go. You can do this. You tell me what part I need to go back and review. Honest to God, think about this right now. Otherwise, I want to rock and roll. We've got cuttings. We've stuck them. You ask the question, okay, what comes next? Let's go. Good? All right, rock and roll. You can do this. There you go. There's proof. You saw it. Yeah, I'm from Missouri. Show me. There you go, bro. All right. Now what? Light and temperature. Light and temperature. I need light, but I'm going to tell you, direct sunlight, just like the cuttings in the baggie, you put these suckers out in the direct sunlight, or you put them where it's going to get to 145 degrees, they're dead. Let's get real. What's comfortable for you? That's what makes the plants comfortable too. Okay? So, light. If it gets above 85, yeah, you're getting on shaky ground on some things. Gets above 90, hey, you're not going to get the highest percentage. I don't care what you're sticking. You're going to lose a good portion. And on like most of them, you may lose them all if you can get above 90. I mean, it can kind of bump up there, but I mean, if they've set at 90, 93 degrees every day for 10 hours or 8 hours, you're probably not going to, count yourself lucky if you get 10 or 20%. Okay. So, 65 to to 80 is good. I am able, by changing the levels in my plant room with different shelves, I like to keep them between 65 and 75. Primo. If I keep them at 60 to 65, I will get a very high percentage of rooting. They'll just take a little longer. But if you've got something that's really, look, I need these suckers to make it. I can't ever go back and get cuttings again. Lower that temperature. Be patient. Give them a little more time. Instead of 6 to 8 weeks, let's give them 12 to 14 weeks. Lower that temperature and don't let it get above 70. Keep it at 65 to 70. They'll take longer, but baby, you're not going to lose some. So it's a balancing act. What works? Have y'all read enough of that? Do I need to talk? Because I really need to move. Rick's telling me, get your butt moving. Okay, lighting. 10 to 12 hours a day is great. 12 to 16 is great, better. Okay, so let's talk about lighting. Outside, you're gambling with the weather. I don't root stuff outside anymore. I got tired of losing stuff. So does Mike Creel can't bring it inside. We've tried to come up with solutions, and his wife says no. Thank you, Christine. My wife tolerates even 30 years of snakes and lizards and the live foods that go with them in my basement. So I've got a special room I built when I built my house for doing this kind of crazy stuff. And she allows me. So I want them inside. The weather's just too iffy, and I just got sick of losing stuff. So I can control it. Light. Let's talk about the light here. With LED, the energy cost is so cheap, and you have such an incredible rate. Full 100% natural daylight is 6,500 degrees Kelvin. Most daylight bulbs you're going to see today are rated at 5,000 K. There's plant light bulbs, and you get in all these different wavelengths. I want to keep it to a fifth grader, so I'm not even going to talk about it. Been there, done all that. I don't need it. I'm going to work smarter and more efficient. So if I keep it around 5,000 K bulbs, I'm good to go. All right. How much lumens? 100 watt bulbs, about 1,600 or 1,650 lumens. Okay. One of my tubs, like this tub here, this right here, one bulb is good enough. If it's like maybe this high above it. If it's double the size, let's put 2. If you got a little bit brighter, that's even better, but watch the heat. Okay. Under no circumstances, you want direct sunlight, reasonable place, east facing window. If you're just doing a cup like this, honest to God, you can put this in a totally east that never, ever, 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 ever gets direct sun, and they're going to root. And your kids are going to say, it's magic. I did that, Mommy. And you better keep up the love and appreciation on it. Okay? But let's get real. I want to grow cuttings, and I want some azaleas. I don't want to take a chance. So I'm gonna do artificial lighting. Okay? But as I say here, depending on what you need, you don't have to go crazy like I do. So I've got clamp lights, like you go and I want to brood my little chick, and I can stick in a 5,000 K bulb. You can buy fancy lights like this, or you can go really super. This is 100% 6,500 K. That's equivalent to about 3,000. So that's what 200 watt bulbs, and it's only burning 28 watts of energy. Same as having a 200 watt incandescent bulb. Now, it doesn't put out near as much heat, but they do put out heat. So that's why if you go around my fish room, you're going to, here you go. Here's another one I use for like this little cup, or just like that little tub. I can even put that up. That's from the late 1960s. But guess what? And it's kind of weird the way it was built, so I have to put fish sinkers up here to hold it down. But it's got a 5,000 K LED 100 watt equivalent bulb. And guess what? I use that for just 1 or 2 little things in tight little corners or something. I'm good to go. If all I'm doing is, hey, that was Mom's, and I just want to start that cutting. We're going to sell the house. you know, I'm good to go. I got a couple of these little cups. One from that end of the porch and one from this end of the porch. And I can do this. And you guys come here and help me. This was grandma's. You got a treasure you can't measure in value. The experience, the memory you're building. Okay, I really got to shut up. All right, so here we go. How long do roots form? 8 to 10 weeks. You're good to go. Some will root in 6 weeks. As I say, temperature can, keep it from 65 to about 75, and they're going to root probably the most efficient and fastest. 6 to 8 weeks, start doing the tug test. How do I know? You give them the tug test. Gently take the cutting and give it a little tug. Gently. You don't rip it out. You're not pulling Bermuda grass. Okay. If it feels a little, okay, I got some resistance, wait 2 weeks and then really, okay, I'm going to give it a little pull. If you really get, hey, this is solid in there, time to pot them up. So let's go. Now, with all this light and humidity, you can get things like fungus growing on the top. And you're also going to get moss. Guess what? That's not a problem. You go anywhere, buy any kind of rose fungicide, put it in a spray bottle, spray it down, we're good to go. It's gone almost instantly. It's not a big deal. Okay? Don't let it sit there and grow for a month. Hello. But it's not a big deal. Don't be afraid by that. Watch your moisture levels. Hey, am I getting a little bit too wet? Do I have a little water on the top? Maybe I need to crack the lid and watch it for maybe an hour and then put it back on. I mean, you got to do your part. You have a brain. The plants don't. Okay? Utilize it. Moisture control. As I said, here's the short and simple of that slide. You guys have got this. You're going to get this. Do I see condensation here on the side? I'm good. Is it dry on top? I'm perfect. Oh, I don't see any. I better take this lid off and mist it down a little bit, put it back on, check it tomorrow morning. If I got water dripping, I better get this under control now. I'm gonna pull that Scotch tape off. I might take this lid off and sit there and watch it for 20 minutes on volume. This on a big tub, you got a greater volume, you got a bigger buffer zone. Okay, so there's your rule of thumb. You guys can watch this later as a club. You can have a special night, pop popcorn, have a big day of it. I'm serious. I love popcorn. Okay, as I say, I've got shelves all over my fish room, plant room, and I play with the height and see what temperatures I need. For a tub like this long, I've got 4 bulbs. And here you can see I've got the clamp light, I've got the 3-panel, and then I throw that one in for good. And I went ahead, because I've got a bigger tub here, I went ahead and added another clamp light. This one also has these 3 panels. They're sweet, man. But I've got other stuff going on, all kinds of stuff. I experiment. Some of them work, some of them don't. I'm learning. Get the kids involved. Let's try this, guys. See what happens. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Okay. So let's just take a look. And you can see I've got another shelf up here. I got a few orchids floating around of all different kinds, but whatever. So here we go. Here's some's been that I just put in. Here's some's been there a while. And bam. There's all different kinds of azaleas, all different kinds of looks and shapes to your cuttings. Got a little funky there. Are we going to have a heart attack? No. What are we going to do? Run down to Walmart, get some Daconil. Good to go. And you can see this is a rhododendron. You can't root that. It's June. Well, it was a lepidote. And it was a branch broken off out of botanical gardens. Can I have that? Okay. I got a really nice rare rhododendron now out of that dude. I tried it. No one told me I couldn't do it. Why not? And you already saw that one, so let's rock and roll. Here's Nancy Wilson. Is that not sweet? She formed that bud all on her own from the cutting and blooming. Bam. Gotta love it, right? And I'm just showing you some variety. There's all different colors, shapes. Well, now that's rhododendron Citaviensis insularis, some seeds. But and you can start. I've got a lot of moss. You've been in there long enough. These are a bunch of cuttings that Dave Nanny sent me in October. You can't, it's way too late to do evergreen hedges. That's when I could get them. That's when he took them. I stuck them. Looked like they're all looking pretty good to me, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Now, you remember those dormant buds? Look what happened. I cut off a stem, and here's the base. You don't see any, what, one leaf there, one leaf there. But now look at this growth. I didn't scrape or pull off, and look at what kind of a plant I'm going to have because I didn't damage those buds. To me, that's attractive. I just love seeing the variety. We don't talk enough about the variety of leaves and forms and colors in azaleas. We all think about the blooms. There's so much more to an azalea than a bloom. It's not funny. Okay, you can put more than one cutting in a pot. I've got 8 in this one, or no, 8 in this one. Guess what? I don't need all that extra space, just a root of cutting. There you go, 8 over here, 6 over here, lots of moss. Notice the leaves on this one. You got to see it in the winter. It's awesome. Oh, you steal my heart. I love it. Oh, Midnight Flare. Midnight Flare is one of the most beautiful year-round azaleas there is. Joe was telling me about, what is it, Marushka that has the black leaf? Yeah, I'm telling you, people don't appreciate, and we're not talking about it enough and showing enough of the tremendous value of azaleas year-round. I got another soapbox, but yeah, I don't have time, Rick said. Okay, so there you go. I ripped out half the plant. I got all 4 cuttings. Bam, they're rooted. Look at that. Ain't that sweet? That's what we want. Root, root, root. Root, root, root. Yeehaw. And so because these, I'm running out of space, I put a deeper pot of good soil, and I'm going to put 2 in each one. It was the middle of the winter. He sent them to me in October, and I wasn't ready to stick them outside. So there you go. And I've got some more sitting there ready to rock and roll. But look at the growth I got. Some varieties gave me a lot of, I can take 2 more cuttings right there. Bam. And now it's the right season. Okay. And so here I've got 2 in each one. And there we go. And even that little straggler, notice this was dipped. Where did the roots come out? It traveled up that stem. I didn't dip it up here, but I didn't damage any buds. And that oxen said, hey, don't grow a branch, grow some roots. Got it? And I took this pot, I said, this is cool. So I lined them up in a row so you can see. Bam, I chopped it in 4s, and there you go. But look at this. That's from not scraping and tearing and ripping and damaging those buds. Look at what a nice azalea I'm going to get out of that. Man, what a foundation to build on with a plant like that. Talk about bonsai and wrap. You got enough branches there to start really getting an anchor and a shape and a foundation from a cutting that's only this high already. Because I didn't damage buds, and now I've got a tremendous, if you want to grow them down low, and I don't know all the terms. My respect to bonsai people is can't be measured. But am I not giving you a foundation to build on and work with? Okay. And you can do this. Okay. I got stuck with about 800 Satsuki cuttings in October. And Dave sent me all of these, and I'm like, God, I did it. But guess what? I left them in trays. I didn't individually pot them. Look and lust, Carolyn. Some of those are going your way. There's about 80 in each one of these trays. Labels, 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 labels. Labels, labels, labels. Otherwise, they're worthless. Labels, labels, labels. Labels, labels, labels. I can't say that enough. And here you go, Carolyn. I don't mean disrespect. I'm talking fast as Carol. Sure. Okay, here you go. Here's an aloe vera. Woo, I might do something with that, right, guys? And I was dealing with some rose cuttings and other kind of weird stuff. Anyway, you do other things. Here's gardenias. Look at this. This sucker got so wild and crazy, started putting out roots all up and down. More gardenias, different varieties. This one's even putting out a bud. Get out of Dodge. Different root structure. Look at that. Big old long, tough white roots. Bam. Look at that. 2 foot of root on a little old 6-inch cutting. Okay. Lots of different shrubs work with these kind of these methods. Experiment and check. Go to Google. Hey, can I root this? But guess what? It works on some trees too. The guy that brought me the cuttings from St. Louis, please help me. I've tried 3 years. We're selling the house. I want this. I grew up with this. I know she planted it 45 years ago. Please help me. Okay. He brought me silver bell, Carolina silver bell cuttings. Cool. I'll stick them. And guess what? Look at the new growth. 4 weeks later, they supposedly root in 6 weeks. I've got a whole bunch of these suckers. Look at that new roots going. Now, big leaves, I had to take off some of that. Why? Because it doesn't have roots yet. Okay. So get on the internet, share this with kids. Get the disease called enthusiasm. Get some young people. Get your family first, then go to the neighbor kids like Joe did. It's great. Here it is. Here's my contact. I know this had to be the bum's rush, and I apologize. I'm so excited to be here and share this. And so I didn't put as many pictures as I would love to have a pretty one, but I hope I've given you information. I'm giving you this presentation. No restrictions of any kind, no copyright, none of that crapola. You use it any way this club decides, but you individually use this and teach it and share it. You are loaded for bear. You can do this. Yes, sir.
When you had failures,
When I had failures, yes, sir.
what's the biggest mistake that you made when you had failures?
100%, I can tell you. Too wet. 50-50. Too wet. I killed so much stuff, it was wretched horrible. Too wet. How do I get it drier? How do I get aeration? I've got degrees, advanced degrees in botany. I know what it takes. I gotta get some oxygen down there. I need to keep humidity levels up there at 100% or supersaturated is even better. How do I do this? I know what perlite is. I've been mixing my own soil and doing stuff that people forgot to tell me it can't be done anyway. And then I had teachers like Mike Krill and Mitch Mortvet that shared with me. And so there you go. That's my failure. Too much water.
You ever do 100% perlite?
100% perlite on some really tricky, serious, no. But 8-to-1, they tell me that Prenophyllum is probably one of the toughest deciduous azaleas, our native azaleas, to root there is. We bump it up to about 8-2 or 4-1. And I have pure white, isolated plant, nothing even within 500 yards of it. Pure white, albinism almost, but it is producing chlorophyll, white Prenophyllum, rooted cuttings. Some are going to Steve Wright at the Jenkins Arboretum because he's working with that germplasm project. And who am I to keep this to myself and be greedy? Oh, I like this. No, I've got 5 other people that I told them, as soon as I get these rooted, you're getting plants. We need to get this disseminated. We don't want to lose this. I only know of one other one outside of the East Coast, and I went through a whole lot of heck and rattlesnakes to get there to find it, and I've got it located. I'm going to be getting seed to share also.
What is
Who?
what again?
Is that a rhododendron Prenophyllum? It's the what do they call it? What's the name, the common name of that one? Rose shell? I don't know. I don't know. But someone asked a question. I got sidetracked. I'm 70. Come on, give me a break here. What was it? What we were trying? There's you can root other things. Yes, sir.
Was it seed or was it located in the wild or what was the origin of the white?
Well, I can't tell the origin of that. No, it's in the wild. Oh yeah, this is in the wild. Now I've been looking for it. Steiermark in the 1940s, probably one of the most famous modern day botanists ever to live. Julian A. Steiermark did the flora of Missouri. Then he ended his career in South America. And he mentions white Prenophytums. They're rare, and he mentioned 2 or 3 counties, but no specific locations. So these boots is made for traveling, ticks, chiggers, and rattlesnakes. And I went through 6 years of records of searching before I had locations that were verifiable enough for me to go to the field. I talked Steve Yates and Danny Hall into going with me on one, and we hiked about 10 miles, and it was gone. Does not exist. I've got 2 with pictures people shared, and I verified. So I want to share them. Is there anything else someone wants to ask? I know Rick's telling me to shut up.
Be around, so you can come up and talk to him afterwards. We gotta move on. Rick, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I will tell you,
Get out of the way for you.
I had given up on propagating. I'm sitting here today and there were at least 6 things that Rick said that I was doing wrong. So I'm gonna try it again.
Amen.
But I will correct you on one thing with the gardenias.
Yeah.
My wife propagates them. She brings them in because they look pretty. She puts them in water and they root. So that's real easy. No rooting compound, no perlite. So, okay. As I mentioned before, there will be a workshop after the meeting, and it's going to be over at the nanny's house. And if you have any questions about how to get there, you can talk to Dave. We're now doing our plant and cutting exchange.